Hi, I'm Winifred Davis. Now, this is not a political channel, as you're well aware, and it's not a channel that deals with psychic predictions about political or world events. However, my first 6 or 7 videos dealt with the war on Gaza because it has something to do with what this channel is about, which is about reincarnation and the journey of the soul. Now, in the past 7 videos, I have accurately predicted, even though I didn't set out to predict anything, many events. I've had many visions and dreams and messages in both waking and sleeping states. Now, last week, Tuesday, I think that would be May 18th, as I was walking, and I usually walk about 8 kilometers a day, and I will get my inspiration, things to write, messages sometimes, and I'll make a note in my brain, and when I get home, I will note them down. I never really stop. For the years I've been walking, I don't really stop. In the midst of my walking, I walk straight. Nothing will stop me from walking and finishing that 8 kilometers. However, last Tuesday I got a message, or a couple messages actually, and I had to stop. I had to stop for about 2 or 3 minutes to memorialize them. I couldn't wait until I got home. Now, I subscribe to no religion. If you've listened to my videos, you will know that. As a matter of fact, I do believe, as John Adams said, that this would be a better world if there were no religion in it. I also stand for universal justice and truth, not the imposter justice of man, because the justice of the universe, its rules have no exception. And when it comes to the truth, there is no my side, your side. The truth stands unopposed. Now, I read most often because I don't want to forget anything. Now, I see the world through 2 lenses. The temporal lens as a spiritual being experiencing temporary human life, imprisoned by my senses of sight, taste, smell, feelings, and hearing. I also see the world through the spiritual lens, which is looking at the world through the eyes of the soul. So I'm free of that prison made by my senses. And that is the world, the eternal world of the spirit. Spiritual beings created with a free will and a conscience. And that conscience is the light that guides that free will. Whenever we choose to turn that conscience off, which is turning off that light, then we get into a lot of trouble. Now, it is through the spiritual lens that I get messages, or that any psychic or anyone, you don't have to necessarily say you're a psychic, anyone can get visions and dreams and messages. We all do. It is through that spiritual lens that we get those visions, messages, or dreams, or inspiration. However, many of us say that realm doesn't exist. And so, because of the temporal lens and the world in which we live as human beings, what I'm about to say is for entertainment purposes only. I could be interpreting my messages wrongly. I doubt it, but it is possible, for I am not perfect, and I never pretend to be perfect. Now, before I go on to those messages, this is a short video. I will just remind you of several of the messages that I gave or that I got and that were absolutely dead on. Now, the events of October 7th, and they were horrific events. A week before that, I had the message, and even the pickup truck, as I detail in my videos, that was seen going into Gaza with some of the captives. I had seen that in my vision 1 week, exactly 1 week before those events. Those were memorialized. I also, 1 week before the assassination of Hassan Nasrallah, I also predicted. I got the vision of his assassination. I also got the vision of Benjamin Netanyahu giving a speech and retiring to a back room. And so it was. A week later, Hassan Nasrallah was assassinated. And he was assassinated right after Mr. Netanyahu gave his speech at the UN and left the main conference area. That was dead on. A third thing that I had that was dead on, when Mr. Biden, Joe Biden, when there was a call for him to step aside and allow someone else to seek election, and most people, a lot of psychics actually, predicted that he would run again. Well, the Friday before he quit on a Sunday, and the Friday before he quit, my guide said to me, Joe Biden is going to quit this weekend. And Saturday night, I asked, and they said, quote, yes, this weekend before Netanyahu comes into town. And indeed, it was a very short while, I think it was less than an hour, that even his advisors knew that Joe Biden would indeed not seek re-election. So that again was dead on. And I just quote a couple more. The number of Israelis and foreigners killed on October 7th. Remember now, I had the vision a week before, memorialized. And a couple hours after the world heard of what occurred on October 7th, I said that the number of those killed would be about 1,000. Well, as I saw the numbers going up, and they went over 2,000 plus, and I thought, my guides never really give numbers. When they do, they're usually pretty accurate. And then, of course, we saw the numbers come back down to 1,139. Now, even one is too many, whether they're Israeli or Palestinian civilians. One is too many. Indeed, 800 civilians, Israeli and foreigners, were killed, and the rest, I think 339, were military personnel, and some of those killed were killed by the Israeli army using their Hannibal directive, I believe. Now, I have predicted a lot of things that, or written about them, and of course they've come to pass. Another one is months before, saying that the Biden administration would indeed announce an embargo on weapons, but of course this is very shammy. Now, what is unfolding right now, if you go through my videos, you will see it's exactly as sometimes I was a little bit off with the months, and in the world of the spirits, we might hear and interpret them as March, and we believe it's March of this year, but it's actually March of next year. That's how it is when it comes to our human time and the time of the spiritual world. A lot of what I said is now unfolding, like call it the almost complete lockdown of the West Bank, and what's happening in Gaza again, what's happening in Syria. And as we know, Iran can look out maybe in another couple of days, couple of weeks, I don't think a couple of months, as you will go through and see my predictions about the Great Persia, and of course, who I call the temptress of America, Benjamin Netanyahu, as he leads them once again, not to Iraq this time, but to the object of their collective desire, the crusade, the march to Tehran, because no powerful Muslim state must exist. But I'll touch on that later. As I said, I subscribe to no religion. Now, as I was going around that track, I heard the message, fire. Al-Aqsa. Now, Al-Aqsa Compound has a mosque, and I think the Dome in the Rock, and that's in Jerusalem. And I won't get into that history and all of that. You can just Google it and what have you, because I want to make this brief. But it's a very holy site for Muslims. So I heard, once again, fire, Al-Aqsa. And I thought, fire, Al-Aqsa. Then I heard explosion, tunnels, fire explosion coming from below, tunnels, explosives to bomb it, set on fire, final act, no more Muslim connection to Jerusalem, but then. So, when I got home and wrote it down, and I thought, tunnels. And I Googled, thank God for Google, and I realized, yes, there are tunnels under there. And there's a whole history, as Al-Aqsa and the whole neighborhood around it might be on shaky grounds if you're building tunnels and what have you under the foundation. Now, the message also said planning, long time planning, it said, and now Zionists, Christofascists from America in the administration and in the country, and Zionist extremists and the government of Israel. Erasure of Muslim link to the land. Some are fighting the crusade all over again, trying to accelerate, some of them, the second coming of Jesus the Christ, and some a Zionist empire that will stretch all over the Middle East, and some money, more land, and resources. Another message was, beware of the golden calf. And my mind ran when I heard that one. Yes, the golden calf. When Moses took a couple days off, so to speak, and the children of Israel built that golden calf, and I do believe the name was Baal. But the message continued, and it said, this one is not even real gold. This one is fool's gold. Now, I believe that calf, of course, was a bull calf. It says, look and observe, and you will know that of which I speak, the Trojan horse. It went on to say, Muslims, endangered species. Now remember now, I subscribe to no religion. So, let me repeat. Muslims, endangered species, target. None is exempt. Time for the energy that was Saladin to arise. No Muslim state is exempt. Now, what I gather as I sat and meditated on those messages, and I won't get into the golden calf and whatever. In due time, we will know. I do know, but at this time I will not divulge. However, my messages, and as I say, I do not subscribe to any religion, is to my Muslim brothers, and I consider all peoples my brothers. We are all brothers in this brotherhood of man. But to my Muslim brothers, you are target. Amongst you, just as with the Christofascists and the Zionists, be they Christians or Jews, they're all supremacists. And amongst you, Muslim brothers, there are supremacists and bigots, because these are just masks. Amongst all of us, there are supremacists and bigots. But right now, these Zionists and Christofascists and the right wing from all over Europe, you are target. Muslim is target. Bigots never really bother to inform themselves about the people that they hate. Now, if you're from the Middle East, as far as they're concerned, and I'm not saying anything new here, you are all Muslims and you're all Arabs. Well, we know that's not true. We know in the Middle East, yes, there are Arabs. There people are, well, we could say Phoenicians. They're Kurds, Yazidis. They're Iranic peoples. And in the Muslim world, if we include Turkey, well, there are a whole lot of different people groups in Turkey. They're Afro-Turks. They're Afro-Iraqis as well, and they're Afro-Iranians as well. And race is a fluid thing. They're all races in the Muslim world and in the Middle East. And before they were Jews, they were pagans. Different belief systems. And some of those were Jews, became Jews. And some of those Jews became, and pagans became Christians. And some of those Jews and Christians and pagans became Muslims. What are we all fighting about? And they're brown people, and they're white people, but race is a very fluid thing. But for bigots and racists, everyone's the same. Muslim equals brown peoples, all Arabs. And so, as they march, and I gave you the reason, some for Zionist empire, perhaps rivaling the empire of Cyrus the Great, none of you is exempt. Neither Shia, Sunni, Druze, Ishmaelis, Christians. And that goes for those of you in Lebanon who are Christians. Link with your Muslim brothers because they don't consider you any different. Neither do they consider the Christians who are Palestinians. It is time for you to stand together because you are the target group of this time period. The target group for the right wing in Europe and all over the world, for the Christofascists who are, I guess, fighting the Crusades all over again, and for Zionist Jews. You are the target group. So, unity has strength, and then perhaps we can stop some of all this madness that is going on. And don't think you're exempt because you're a rich state. Jordan is not exempt because when you are no longer needed to shoot down those missiles before they enter Israel, you're part of greater Israel, of those extremists that they want to conquer. You know that. I'm not telling you anything. Saudi Arabia, UAE, you are not exempt either. None of you are exempt. So, be as wise as Saladin. In unity, there is strength. Because once you have that title, Muslim, and if you happen to be in the area once again, and you are Christian, they don't see the difference. So stop fighting each other. And perhaps with that unity, you might be able prevent some of this madness that is going on. And maybe we'll all learn to do better. Well, once again, I'll say this is for entertainment purposes only, and I subscribe to no religion. And in my belief system, there I believe that the soul and this journey helps us to avoid all this madness that is going on around us, this cruelty and this hate, this sheer madness, where even children, we forget no pity. I can say, I know the history of my soul. And I know that with all the power that we have and all the money and the riches, the gold, that at the end of the day, when we leave this earth, without baggage we arrived, and without baggage we must depart. And in my journey, my soul's journey, I've had awesome power and awesome riches, and that I will discuss in another book. What? To what end? To what end? And so as I've journeyed through these centuries, I know why I have walked in so many different shoes, and why I have borne and suffered much. Because of what I see around me. Serves no purpose in the end. And I wish each one of us could know the experiences and know what it is in the spiritual world and why we are here. And then perhaps we'll have less madness. But once again, the message was fire, Al-Aqsa, tunnel, explosion. Those are the key words. Beware of the golden calf. And this one is not even a real golden calf, but fool's gold. A bull calf, a Trojan horse. Now, before I go, I will say this, as I always do. We are but tenants on this earth. We did not come on this earth to have dominion over anyone, not over the birds in the air, the fowl in the air, the beasts in the field, or the fish in the sea. So, let us be good tenants. Let us take care of ourselves and of each other. Let us take care of this planet, our temporary home called Earth, and all the creatures that dwell thereon. And let us remember that there is something greater than us And we cannot fight on behalf or for that something that is greater than us. And we call that something that is greater than us by different names. The Creator, God, Allah, whatever name, doesn't matter. The only way we can show respect and love to that something that is greater than us is by being good to ourselves and to each other. So we have the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man, doing unto others as we would have, my guides say, them do unto us. Love. That which I do unto my brother, I do unto myself, for I am my brother's keeper. One divine, universal love.